How's it going, guys? So a lot of amazing cars have come out recently, and I want to talk about them with you. I am thinking about potentially a Huracan Performante as an upgrade from the standard Huracan. Not right now, but definitely in the future. But there's also some really cool alternatives like the McLaren 720S. So I want to create a place where everyone can discuss the different cars that have been released recently. Wow, there is a huge truck just rolling coal in front of me. So I want to form a place where everyone can discuss all of the new cars that just were revealed, what you think are the benefits and the disadvantages of each one, whether you think Lamborghini sticking towards being naturally aspirated is good, or if it's bad when it's being left behind in terms of power figures over its forced induction rivals. Let me know what you think, whether you prefer the Huracan Performante over the 720S, or whether you think the Huracan is good enough and it doesn't make sense to upgrade to a Performante. I'm going to be super involved in the conversations and in the comments, so make sure to leave a reasoning behind that, and I think we can find some awesome information and learn the opinions of all of you guys as subscribers. So I'm going to talk about what makes the Performante different than the standard Huracan. The biggest thing is their active aerodynamics. Now I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, but it is Aerodynamica Lamborghini Attiva, or ALA. Essentially, it's a form of active aerodynamics that's electronically controlled, that's able to be optimized to the specific timing. Now, a Viper ACR, it's proven that aerodynamics, downforce are vital to track times. I mean, look at the wing and the front dive planes, and everything about it is based on aero and grip. But those can only be manually adjusted before you race on the track. What if you were able to do that in real time while going around a track? I remember when the Huayra came out and seeing those flaps on the front hood, so cool, acting as active aerodynamics. Well, here we are now, a couple of years later, in a Huracan, a car basically missing an extra zero from that price, with active aerodynamics. So in the front, we've got a splitter with vents that open and close. When they're closed, that means air passes over the car, giving it more downforce and traction through turns. When the vents open, the air passes through the vehicle, reducing its coefficient of drag, making it slipperier, enhancing acceleration and its top speed. We've also got similar thing in the back. Now the rear wing, it's got a massive one. I do too, it's stationary, it's nowhere near as tricksy as the ALA wing is. It has vents in the uprights that are able to open and close. When they're open, it passes through, basically making the wing less effective so it can have a higher top speed. But when they close, it makes it like a stationary wing, giving it plenty of downforce. The coolest part is they're able to operate independently, meaning when you're going around a turn, it's able to close and open one of the vents, giving the inside wheel more traction, increasing mid-corner speed. That is awesome. Other differences with the Performante. It's got a power bump up to 640 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque. It's also got a faster retuned gearbox. Now, when I've tested the Huracan, driven the LP580 or the 610, I have never once thought to myself, it needs a more responsive gearbox. But here we are, Lamborghini improving things that weren't a weakness in the car, so I'm sure that is absolutely flawless. They've also dropped the weight by 80 pounds. Doesn't sound like a lot, but in the car world, 100 pounds is about a tenth in the quarter mile. So 80 pounds weight loss, an increase in power, and then those crazy aerodynamics add up to one heck of a package. The name itself is a little bit controversial. If you remember, the original Gallardo, when they came out with a special edition version, it was the Gallardo Superleggera. Super light is what that means. It was all about being lightweight. Then they came out with the LP560, then there was the LP570 Superleggera, and not till they made the Spider, where they called it the Spider Performante. Lamborghini made it clear that they cared the most about performance enhancements with this new car, not about making it light. Now, they did shave some weight. The forged carbon everywhere, which we'll talk about in a bit, is absolutely beautiful looking. Instead of your traditional square weave carbon fiber, this forged composite is incredibly strong, lightweight, and just looks simply badass. Now, it's in the engine bay of the normal Huracan. A lot of people from afar mistake it and think, oh, the engine bay is just really dirty. Clearly, the performance aspect of the Huracan has paid off, but that leaves us with a very controversial, touchy subject, which I want to discuss with all of you and discuss in the comments below, and that is the Nürburgring Nürburgring lap time. 6 minutes and 52 seconds means the Huracan Performante is the fastest production car ever to lap the Nürburgring. Significantly faster than a 918, which has way more power and costs significantly more money. It's also faster than a P1 and a LaFerrari, which is confusing to a lot of people. Me as well. When I originally heard it, I thought, I don't know if that's possible, but we'll see. Now, people have come out with some pretty convincing videos that tear apart Lamborghini's lap time, saying that they must have lied because there's some sketchy little parts of the video that make it seem not genuine. Now, I agree. It's incredible how well the community came together and picked apart the lap time because it is truly an extraordinary record. But the issue is, all of it has to do with picking apart the live video and not as much the actual lap time itself. Now, of course, if parts of the video are sped up, it would make the lap time shorter, but I really think people are attacking the video itself, which obviously was probably filmed in multiple takes, stitched together multiple lap times in order to create the best one, and some parts might have been sped up in order to fit it all in. Doesn't necessarily mean they lied. So here's the thing, nobody knows other than Lamborghini whether the time is truthful or not. I think they should get the car independently tested. They can have Lamborghini drivers, but independently timed to tell all the haters basically to back off. If they legitimately did a 6:52 lap time, then getting under 7 minutes, which is plenty good enough to blow people's minds, shouldn't be an issue at all, because that 8-second differential is absolutely massive. People also thought that the Lamborghini Aventador SV lied with their lap times as well. Similar thing with the speeding up the video. My biggest argument against that, however, is Lamborghini is such a large company that lying, and they would have to lie so much if this car truly wasn't nearly that fast, for them to have the guts to come out with a lap time that's so much faster than these multi-million-dollar hypercars and be lying about it. That would be absolutely insane. So I don't think that's the case. The reason being is, if they got caught, if they truly lied about it, and somebody came up with indisputable evidence, so far all the people who are saying that it's not true, they all have their little claim that, well, I don't know the answer and it's potential that they didn't actually cheat. And same here, I don't know if they actually did it correctly. But I'm thinking from Lamborghini's perspective and their reputation, if they were to lie through their teeth about that and somebody came up with evidence, somebody was there, independently timed it somehow, that it was a lie, then their reputation would kind of go in the toilet. And this car that was so exciting would all of a sudden flop on its face and their sales would suffer. So I don't think they lied about it, but I would like to see it tested and independently timed so they could prove it. What it does show is that active aerodynamics and downforce in general are going to be playing a very large role in supercars and hypercars of the future. They already have, but I think people have realized that lap times are really important to the general public for making headlines and thus making car sales, because people want to be able to say that I have the fastest car that goes around the Nürburgring, and Viper ACR owners are very proud of the fact and the records of their car, and rightfully so, because they are in fact truthful. So I think it's going to be a movement towards extra aerodynamics, downforce, maybe tire development to get more grip on the road in order to make more impressive lap times. So am I buying a Huracan Performante? Well, I'm very much considering it in the future. I want to wait till the cars depreciate. That's what I did with this car, and I saved a lot of money because of it. You wait till it's lightly used, an owner just basically touched it and drove it around the block, and the second it leaves the lot and is no longer a brand new car, you can get a much better deal on it. Buying and ordering a Performante and speccing it out the way I want, it would just be far too expensive, and I'm fine with letting somebody else drive it before to save some money. The Huracan Performante starts at $275,000, which is 35 grand more than the standard Huracan, which for what you're getting, I actually think is a pretty good deal. The rear center exit exhaust, oh, that is so beautiful. And Vorsteiner, as an aftermarket company, has done an amazing job of doing that before Lamborghini did, and putting an aftermarket rear center exhaust on the back of a standard Huracan. Nice job, Peter, on that one. They've got forged carbon everywhere, and it looks incredible. Whether it's functional for saving weight, and in the interior, not so much functional, but just looks incredible. Instead of these plastic air vents, we've got forged carbon, the center console, the paddles, and we've got a redesigned center dash that looks a lot more like the Aventador S and the Aventador SV that's customizable. I like this move. Instead of a more circular fashion for the RPMs and the Speedo, in cars like the LaFerrari or the Aventador SV, a more horizontal pattern, it looks so cool and so much like a race car for the road. So yeah, very interested in it. I love the way it looks. I didn't like what they did to the front of the LP580, but now with the Huracan Performante, they've raised the bar yet again, made the side, the rear, the front look better than ever. The big thing is though, the McLaren 720S. Originally when I saw it, it kind of looked like an Alien. Wasn't quite sure on the styling. Still does look like an Alien, but it's really growing on me, especially seeing different angles. The McLaren 720S has a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 making 710 horsepower. Their route is lightweight cars. It weighs 200 pounds less than the Huracan Performante, and it has more power. So that means in a straight line, it would cook the Huracan. Twin turbo means it's tunable, so for not that much money, you can tune it and make it even faster, and it's got awesome doors. Can't complain about that. It's also got a crazy active wing, and there's different types of 720Ss that you can buy, from a performance model, a luxury model, somewhere in between. That starts at $255,000, which is 20 grand cheaper than the Performante. Of course, when you add things that you want on the car, namely carbon fiber, seat belts, an airbag, doors, and a windshield, it becomes increasingly more expensive and the base price kind of disappears into thin air. But once again, waiting for those to hit the used car market, because once that leaves the lot, it'll be worth about $10 and it would be an excellent deal. So what do you guys think? Discuss in the comment section below. Would you rather have a McLaren 720S or a Huracan Performante, and why? I'm really curious. I don't think in this day and age you can possibly go wrong with any of the cars available, but they go about performance in a very different way. It does seem that people are caring about making lightweight cars, they're caring about adding aerodynamics, but Lamborghini now is the only one, compared to Ferrari and McLaren, that's staying naturally aspirated. And that's good from a driver experience perspective. However, turbos are getting so close now to feeling like a naturally aspirated car, and the turbos sucking the exhaust away, they're making the cars sound better, like the 488. Doesn't sound quite as good as the 458 Special, but they did a great job with that. That the line is really thin between whether you actually want a naturally aspirated car versus a forced induction vehicle, because all of the forced induction ones, they can have a smaller engine with boost, make more power, make a lot more torque, and thus make the vehicle faster. Well, I hope you enjoyed this discussion. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're gonna have some awesome videos coming out. Really, really stoked about the new Huracan Performante as well as the McLaren 720S. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.